Welcome to Eat Sleep Nerd, a podcast where you can check out, go AFK, and relax with us as we discuss all things nerd. Comic books, video games, movies, TV shows, and anything else that gets geeks more excited than Pac-Man when he sees one of those little ghosts.
Welcome to episode number 28. I am your dorky DJ, Corey Winter, and as always, I am joined by my nerdy brother, Josh Winter. Woo! In this episode, we are quickly going around the net to dive through the biggest nerdy news from this last week, including Comcast shutting down G4TV, a new Naked Gun movie with Liam Neeson, Netflix announcing details for their ad-supported tier, Tom Cruise in space, and more. And as always, please do not forget to share this show with everybody. Please. And thank you. And also follow us on social media. Twitter, Instagram, @EatSleepNerd. Josh, where's Jason?
I don't know. I lost him. I thought you were watching him.
Oh, no. You just didn't show up?
This is a no-call, no-show.
No, he is busy this week, so unfortunately we're going to be delaying our reviews and recaps for the entire seasons of She-Hulk and the Rings of Power until next week, so look out for episode number 29 when Jason is back, when we'll also be talking about Black Adam. Ooh. So be on the lookout for that. But in the meantime, we're going to put off all reviews, all episode discussions until Jason is back. So this episode, we're only going through the news this week. So Josh, what have you been up to this week before we even get into that?
I have been playing Star Trek Online. Like a lot, like a whole lot. I just hit level 30 and I started like a couple days ago.
30 out of how many?
I think it goes to 70 now.
Nice.
So like I'm halfway through character progression after like 3 or 4 days. So yeah, like that's literally all I've been doing.
So I will say you asked me to play that with you and yes. I did download it. It's right here. Yep.
It's a good step.
Step 1.
Have you made your captain yet?
I have not even logged in.
Cool.
We'll get around to it. I got distracted by several things actually this week. I actually had a pretty nerdy week. So I finished that Metro 2033 game. Mm-hmm. But I'm going to put off playing the other two because I wanted to get back into some other stuff that I've been putting off. So I started playing Returnal again, the PlayStation 5 game that came out last year. I believe it was last year. But for those that don't know, that's, it has gotten a lot of acclaim, critical acclaim, like a very awesome game. It's a roguelite. So it's essentially a Groundhog Day type of game to where if you die, you don't just go back to the last checkpoint, like you completely restart the game.
Oh, that was all games when I was a child.
Yes, but this one actually kind of plays into the story because you are an astronaut that's, from what I haven't actually beaten the game, anywhere near beaten the game, but story-wise, from what I can tell, you're an astronaut that crash lands on this alien planet, and if you die, you go back to your crashed ship, and you're actually trying to like put the pieces together to figure out what happened and what this planet is. And the cool thing is that the planet, every time you come back to life, it regenerates. So there's no matter how many times you come back to life, it's a different map every time.
So how long does a playthrough take?
I think it was like 20 hours.
Well, so does it like save?
No. So when the game launched, there was no save functionality whatsoever. Like you had to keep restarting from the scratch. So it really was the don't turn off your console if you don't want to lose your save progress. They have since introduced a feature where you freeze your game essentially. So you can turn off your console and everything. So it freezes your game at that point in time. But it's not really a save file because then if you restart the game and then die, then you do go back to the beginning. But you can't actually reload that last save thing. So it's essentially it only saves you.
It's really more of a pause.
Yeah, it's a pause. But you can like turn off your console. So
I mean, that's neat. But like,
you have to be really committed to finishing this game.
Yeah, like that's 20 hours is too long
for a game like that. Yeah,
for the premise of that game.
So with that in mind, I gave up on that.
Yeah,
fun game. I just did not have the patience for it. So I started watching Cyberpunk Edge Runners, the anime on Netflix that's based on the Cyberpunk video game.
Okay,
so I'm not a huge anime fan.
Sure.
Back in middle school, high school, Toonami was awesome.
Oh yeah,
so like that kind of anime was, okay. I've watched other animes and times since then, but not really my thing. But I gave this one a shot because I heard great things about it, and I liked the idea of cyberpunk. I binged all 10 episodes in
Good Lord.
2 sittings. It's awesome. It is a great show. Definitely things that you would see in the cyberpunk video game, like nudity and sex and drugs and graphic violence and gore and things.
So it's a well-balanced show.
It is. But the story is riveting. And if you like the cyberpunk world, you will definitely like this show. And if you're not familiar with the game, you'd probably still like this show if you like the idea of cyberpunk-ness aesthetics.
Sure.
So great show. I highly recommend. It came out, I think, last month, so it's been around for a couple weeks now. 10 episodes. Giancarlo Esposito is a voice of one of the characters.
He's in everything.
Yeah, he's in everything. But
he's in everything.
He kind of surprised me when his voice just randomly showed up. Obviously playing the big bad guy.
Well, yeah. I don't think he plays good guys.
No,
I don't. It's not in his repertoire.
So yeah, highly recommend that one. It's on Netflix.
He's evil Morgan Freeman.
Oh my God.
Because Morgan Freeman doesn't play the bad guy except for like one time. So we need a movie where Morgan Freeman plays the good guy and Giancarlo Esposito plays the bad guy.
We need like a Good Omens show where it's just them.
Yes. It just wrote itself.
Yes. So anyway, watching that show put me back into the mood. So I have not touched Cyberpunk since it came out 2 years ago.
Sure.
I had so I played it on my PlayStation 5, but it was the PS4 copy. That was back before the PS5 version came out. And sure. I remember playing I actually just checked my save proxy when I picked it back up. I played like 20 hours of this game when it first came out, and I had a fun time. I was telling you earlier, it was definitely an unfinished game. Even playing on good hardware, you could tell it was an unfinished game.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on it after a while, especially when I realized that it was a broken game and they would be eventually fixing it. So I kind of put it off to the side for a little bit.
Gave them time to patch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So watching this Netflix series, I was like, ooh, that put me back in the mood. So I'm going to go try it again. They actually have the PS5 version now. I booted it up. This game is awesome.
Well, yeah, that's what I've been telling you.
It's definitely fixed now. All of the complaints I had about it before they addressed. Yeah, that's what I've been doing this week. I've been playing that pretty hard. But anyway, so Cyberpunk. That's a good game, finally, 2 years later. But yeah, you want to get into the nerdy news?
Hit it.
Okay, so we have several stories we want to talk about, but the first one we're going to talk about is actually breaking news as of this recording. It came out like maybe half an hour ago. We are recording this Sunday night before this episode airs on Tuesday. We are finding out that Comcast is officially shutting down the relaunched G4TV. And I am heartbroken. So, reading this quick article real quick, this all came reported by Deadline, but the hosts and everyone that works at G4 has confirmed this. G4TV's revival is unfortunately coming to an end less than a year after it was relaunched, as Comcast is pulling the plug on the network behind such series as X-Play, Attack of the Show, and more. As reported by Deadline, Comcast Spectacor, that's a stupid name, rebrand. Their chairman and CEO, Dave Scott, penned a letter to all employees saying G4TV is being discontinued immediately. So the CEO actually sent out the letter to everybody over the weekend. First of all, come on. Like, no one's checking their inboxes on the weekend. So a lot of these people that actually worked at G4 found out that they had lost their jobs via Twitter.
Yeah, the news. Yeah.
So reading this little email that he put out to the entire staff at G4. Team, as you know, G4 was reintroduced last year to tap into the popularity of gaming. We invested to create the new G4 as an online and TV destination for fans to be entertained, be inspired, and connect with gaming content. Over the past several months, we worked hard to generate the interest in G4, but viewership is low and the network has not achieved sustainable financial results. This is certainly not what we hoped for, and as a result, we have made the very difficult decision to discontinue G4's operations effective immediately. I know this is disappointing news, and I'm disappointed too. I want to thank you and everyone on the G4 team for the hard work and commitment to the network. And he goes on to say that HR will be in touch with them to support them in this next phase.
Don't call us. We'll call you.
Basically. So before we really dive into this and dissect a little bit, I want to bring up a couple of the G4 hosts that have publicly replied. All of these hosts, they were big content creators before G4. Like, that's why they were brought in, is because they were already popular on YouTube and Twitch and stuff. So all of these people are pretty well known in the gaming industry on their own. So Golden Boy, one of those that was regularly featured on XPlay and a few others. He tweeted this evening saying, "Fun fact, I was in active negotiations for my new contract with G4. And then obviously this news broke, and that's not happening. And then Gerard the Completionist, essentially the main XPlay host nowadays, and he replied to the tweet from Deadline saying that G4 was shutting down. He replied saying, "Hey, this tweet is how I found out I lost my job. How neat." So it just goes on with just people that I follow from G4, all saying very similar things, is that they were completely blindsided by this.
Yeah.
But then one more I'm going to read for you is Gina Darling. She's one of the main hosts on Attack of the Show. She took to G4TV's Discord to send a message saying, "I love you guys. We really gave it our all. My heart is absolutely shattered. Thank you for going on this journey with us. Thank you for helping me make my childhood dream come true. I love you guys a lot." I definitely shed some tears before you got here tonight. So I was over there playing Cyberpunk, and I saw this notification from Discord pop up. I'm like, what's going on? It's Sunday. Nothing happens on Sunday. And then there was that. So what's your take? I know you've had some feelings about their relaunch plans.
Yeah. So, I mean, this sucks. I want to start by saying, I mean, there was a lot of people who were very excited. I mean, it's kind of like making it to the big leagues if you were a streamer or a Twitch player or whatever. So I'm going to start by saying that sucks. And especially it sucks how it was handled, which I think is actually the biggest takeaway. Is you can tell they shut everything down immediately because they really were not worried about how crappy a job they did disseminating that information. It doesn't matter. The company is gone. So that sucks. And I feel bad for those folks. That being said, this is not surprising to me at all. And it's funny because that letter that you read at first from old what's-his-face, it even starts by saying that this was reintroduced in the year of popularity, cash in on popularity of gaming. The first thing I told you when they relaunched G4 was that they're going after the completely digital audience with a cable TV channel. Your target audience doesn't have cable anymore. Like they have internet. And so even the ones that have, like, I'm one of them. I have cable that I've literally never turned on because it's part of my bundle. So like I have cable, I don't watch it. I stream everything either through the respective TV channels or the different services, whatever. So I think they had a good idea about bringing back G4. I would have leaned completely into it being a 100% digital medium. I would have made it essentially a website and allowed these content creators, most of whom were working from home, to continue to just work from home. You don't need studios. You don't need all of this. They're talking about video games. It's all video footage, archival footage. This was a good idea that they did in the most boomer way possible, and were surprised when it blew the budget.
So I will say, I definitely, I mean, obviously that's what happened. Like they tried to do something that just was not going to work. But I will give them credit because it was a hybrid model. So all of their content that makes it to cable is available on their Twitch and YouTube channels originally. Like it actually originally airs on their Twitch and YouTube channels, and then it's repurposed to air on linear cable channels. So seemingly their Twitch and YouTube presences are actually doing really well. Like you can go look up obviously YouTube is very transparent about the views and stuff. Like their content, like especially their XPlay content, gets thousands and thousands of views per episode. And they're constantly uploading new videos. Whenever they have a show, like they do weekly shows, typically they air them live. So like what you're watching is actually being recorded live. So you can actually take part in their live shows on Twitch and stuff. And that's actually a very interactive way to engage your audience.
You used to be able to take part in their shows.
Yeah.
You can't anymore.
But it seems like the internet side of things, from what I can tell, was going great. But it seems like because they were doing the cable aspect, that was costing them a lot of money.
That's what I was saying. Like they had a good idea. It's like me saying, dude, we're going to get the band back together. All right. our cassette tapes come out next Friday. What? Not now. Don't worry. You'll be able to, if you buy the cassette. All right. I'm going to give you a digital download code too. Okay. But you got to buy the cassette. That was their business plan. That was literally their business plan. And you could tell that it was a bunch of 50, 60, and 70-year-olds who were like, what are the kids into? Gaming is really popular. Let's bring back G4. But they did it like they would have done it 20 years ago.
So backing this up a little bit, I think we planned to talk about it, but we actually did not end up putting it in the episode. So about a month ago, there was the round of layoffs at G4, like the first round of layoffs at G4. Mm-hmm. Yet again, caught everybody by surprise because from what the entire staff was being told was that it was doing really well.
Digitally.
And that came at a very bad time because it was already planned that Kevin Pereira, the main host at Attack the Show, one of the original hosts back in OG G4TV days.
Those early 2000s.
He was already planning to leave around the same time.
Because he saw the writing on the wall.
Oh, no. So when the G4 channel relaunched last year, he made it very clear he was not going to be sticking around. He wanted to be a transitional host to get all these new people under his wing, and then he would step aside. Yeah, so all those layoffs happened. But the very next week, Kevin had his last show. During that show, his last show, they announced who the new host would be. It's Austin Creed, the big WWE wrestler who has been a co-host on the show for the past year. He was announced as the big new main host. And they were going to take 2 weeks off as like a season break and then come back this past week, they were going to come back and have Austin Creed doing his first show as main host, which they did. And now this. So literally they had this whole big thing about this brand new host and they get one show out of it. So Kevin Pereira, I love him. Like originally he was like my main reason for watching just because he is a legend in front of the camera. Like he can control anything in front of the camera. He was just so much fun to watch. Obviously the entire crew was fun to watch, but him especially, it was always something magical when he was the host. He actually came out as soon as this news broke about G4. He came out and said, not exactly unexpected, still a massive disappointment for a myriad of reasons. Nothing but the warmest vibes for a cast and crew who worked passionately and diligently every step of the way despite the many unforced errors. One of these days, I'll release my write-up for what I felt G4 should be when/if revived. So he is basically saying he knew that things were not being done the best way.
Yeah.
But it was still being done in a way that tons of people thought was extremely entertaining. So,
well, I don't think the entertainment was ever a problem.
It was the business side of it.
It was the business side of it. It was, well, I mean, business 101. It was costing more money than it was making. And that's my entire point. With everybody working from home, I mean, the room we're recording in would look great on YouTube. Like, it is a functional room in your home, but like it would work. You don't have to spend a ton of money on the front end to create content in a digital world.
Yeah.
But they were.
Oh, yeah. They had a massive custom studio in LA, right, of all places.
Yeah.
Like, it was a huge studio.
Worst place. And you were saying, like, people moved there to be on the show. And so,
yeah.
No, that is the dumbest. As soon as you told me that, I would not have taken the job. Just because that is a terrible idea. So I guarantee when he puts out his little letter that goes over what he thinks it should be and how it should be done, it will be that everybody works from their own home or from a small studio in their whatever city they're in, that it's probably going to be shot on front of a green screen, and it's just going to be digitally created and released.
Yeah.
Because that way you also get the vast majority of ad revenue. When you go through a cable channel, that's a pie that gets split up by 84 people. So it's a good idea. They just did it the wrong way.
Yeah. And my last point is going to be, it just kind of sucks because when they relaunched it, the behind the scenes details were that they were given 2 years by Comcast. Comcast was saying, you guys have 2 years to go make some magic. They didn't even give them a full year. And I think that's just kind of crappy. Like, come on, give them some time to build something.
But writing was on the wall, man.
Yeah. So it is what it is. I am depressed. Probably will be for a little bit. But the good thing about G4 is that, like I was saying, all of these content creators are already established on their own. So it seemed like if you are out there listening and you are a fan of G4 as well, the current G4, then the now defunct G4, these content creators, they'll be back doing their own things pretty soon. So anyway, that's a bummer. Sorry to start off on a sad note, but let's move into something that we talked about on the last episode. It was still a rumor though, but it seems like it's essentially a done deal. Slash Film is now confirming on their end that Harrison Ford will be replacing William Hurt as General Ross in Marvel's Thunderbolts.
Yay!
In addition to his first appearance is reportedly going to be in Captain America 4, which comes out 3 months before Thunderbolts. Especially going to get Harrison Ford hulking out multiple times.
Yeah.
Possibly as Red Hulk. So you actually sent us a fan rendering of what Harrison Ford as Red Hulk would look like.
Oh yeah, it was all over the internet. Like as soon as it was more or less confirmed that he was going to be doing it. Yeah. So I'm for it. Like I'm waiting for the scene where some superhero is being uppity and he gets in there and he gives them the finger, the Harrison Ford finger. And he says, "Look," and then you see his eyes starting to get red and stuff. Like, come on.
So what I'm looking forward to is Harrison Ford doing press interviews before the movie comes out, and people are asking him like Marvel questions. And
he doesn't give a crap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't. Hey, what do you think about the current situation? I think they paid me a lot of money. Like that's how he feels. And you know what? That's like the best thing about Harrison Ford. He's a great actor and he's going to do a great job in the movie. Like even when he could tell he was in a movie that wasn't good, Harrison Ford was always good. You know? So he'll take it seriously, but yeah, he's going to do it for the money. And I guarantee everyone's just like, oh no, this is like a one-off. He's just going to do it one time. No, I think it's the exact opposite. Harrison Ford probably signed like a 10-picture deal because now he's ready to show up for 5 minutes in every movie and make millions of dollars.
Yeah, like so far, whenever William Hurt did appear, it was never for very long. Like it was a scene or two here and there.
Yeah.
So seemingly, aside from maybe Thunderbolts, where he would obviously be a bigger role, probably not going to be a lot of screen time for Harrison Ford. No. But he's probably going to get paid a lot of money for it.
Tons of money. And under the assumption that his Red Hulk persona finally does come into play, that's even more time where he won't even actually be in the movie. They're going to get him into a sound booth to record like 4 lines, which is going to be like Harrison Ford smash. And then and that's it. And he's going to make his millions. He's going to go home. But I think this is great. It's wonderful. I'm excited.
So let's move into our next story. Another old ass actor doing a role that we were not expecting. So Naked Gun, the what I consider the classic slapstick comedy movies of yesteryear, starring, what was his name?
Leslie Nielsen.
Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah.
There's an entire series of movies, and reports are coming out, this one from Deadline.com, saying that Paramount Pictures is moving forward with a new Naked Gun reboot, this time starring Liam Neeson and Akiva Shaver set to direct. While no official green light has been given, sources say it's headed in that direction once a deal closes for Neeson. So I like that we've gotten... Neeson has gone from the late career action star, and he's kind of morphing into his comedy, slapstick career. Like, this is awesome.
No, that's the coolest thing about Liam Neeson is that he's reinvented his career over and over and over again to stay relevant. Because he started out as a kind of a generic, just drama actor, like a la Schindler's List. Then he obviously moved into his old man action phase, which was Taken, and then Taken on various different situations, like Taken on a train, Taken on a plane, Taken in a building, Taken in a, that's what it ended up being, right? He was the new Die Hard. What's this movie about? Oh, it's like Die Hard on a train. What's this movie about? Oh, it's like Taken on a plane. Oh, okay. And that was fine. He made a lot of money doing that. He made a lot of money for other people doing that.
Yeah.
Like, it was a proven formula. I was okay with it. Like, yeah, what's the gray about? It's Taken with wolves. Okay, I'm in. Sold. And now he's realizing that maybe he is getting a little too old to be a straight-up action hero and that it's more funny than believable. And he's going to turn that into comedy. Which it's worth noting, Leslie Nielsen was not a comedy actor before he did those movies. Like, friends were telling him he should try to do comedy. And so he just gave it a shot, and that's what ended up making him a huge star instead of someone you kind of recognized sometimes.
Yeah.
So I'm for it. My only concern is, and this is just for comedies in general right now, I wonder if it's going to be particularly successful just because everyone gets upset about everything all the time. So that has inherently made comedy a little bit harder to do.
Yeah, I mean, I was saying at the beginning of this story that, those movies have aged well, but at the same time, to go back and watch those movies, a lot of the jokes would not play well today.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is a very good point.
Because, half the stories on comedy circuits and from comedians about how they're scared to tell a joke because someone's going to get mad.
Yeah.
And so that would be my only concern. I really want this movie to get made, but I'm worried they're going to have to water it down at the risk of trying not to offend anyone. So, I don't know. I'll see it, though, if it gets greenlit. I'll go see the crap out of it.
Initial plot details are being kept under wraps, except that Neeson might be playing the son of Detective Frank Drebin instead of stepping into the role made famous by Leslie Nielsen.
Sure. So it's almost a continuation instead of a possibly.
Yeah.
I don't want him to get rid of his Irish accent.
No.
I just want him to do it anyway.
The casting is so random, but I want to see it. I have to see it.
Yeah, I had not heard about this until you brought it up, so I am on board. Sign me up.
All right, so moving into our next story, Netflix's ad-supported tier. We have talked about this a couple of times on this show, but we finally have some details about what it actually is going to be priced at and when it's coming out and what it actually means for your viewing experience. They have announced that the new tier will cost $6.99 a month. It will be initially available in the US, Australia, etc., etc. It will be labeled as basic with ads and will be released on November 3rd at 9 a.m. Pacific time. It's a very specific time. Like, it's
a specific Pacific
not
time.
Just on November 3rd. Right at 9 a.m. It's going live. So does it surprise you? At $6.99 you get ads?
So how much time do we have?
Before you even do that thought,
okay,
a couple more details that actually might play into your
Go
answer.
for it.
The basics with ads tier will also be limited to 720p, and you can expect an average of 4 to 5 minutes of ads per hour. And I believe somewhere in here it mentions that it will actually be limited content on this plan. So you will not actually have the full library of Netflix.
Yeah.
So all of those limitations in mind, is it worth $6.99?
I would have made it $5 or under.
Yeah.
Because what the standard plan right now is like what, $11, $12, something like that.
I know I'm paying like 20 something. Oh no.
I mean, yeah, like I've got the premium one, which is ridiculous right now. Like, they're out of control. I mean, tell me you're going broke without telling me you're going broke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the vibe I get off of it. I'm going to stream it to you in the lowest quality possible. You're going to have ads, which I guarantee the ads will be in like 1080p. And at least there'll be 8K ads. And you don't even get to watch everything that's on there, which we've already discussed. There's not enough content on there. So you're going to take your small library and not even let me watch all of it when I could spend, $4 more, $5 more? You get everything. Like, saving $5 is not going to get people to sign up for this.
Yeah.
I would have made it dirt friggin' cheap. But if you could get 1 million people to sign up for dirt cheap, $2, $3, that's $3 million in revenue, plus the revenue you get from the ads.
That's fast math.
Yeah. So you get what I'm saying, though? Like, this is a crap idea, and it's obviously like a death throw Hail Mary, but you didn't go hard enough into your own Hail Mary. I would have made it dirt cheap.
One last thing I'm seeing is that, furthermore, users will not be able to download titles. So that feature comes in handy when
you're going on a flight.
Yeah.
This is earlier than we thought it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
My guess is they have already decided that it will be reevaluated as an option at the beginning of the year. I'm calling it. Like, at the end of Q4, they're going to have a sit down. They're going to discuss whether or not it's working.
Yeah.
So I guarantee at the beginning of next year, you're either going to hear that it's changing, either in price or features. They're either going to make it a better deal for $7, or they're going to cut the price even more. Probably squeeze some more ads in. Or it's going to go away. They're going to call it a failed model. I get why they're doing it. Again, I think this is not being executed properly. I should be allowed to run everything. Could I save Netflix?
Could you save?
I could do it. 100%. I could save
you have
Netflix.
saved G4?
Yes. 100%. You'd only be able to watch it on your phone.
You know, that didn't work out too well for that one streaming service. What was it?
Like it had like little 5-minute shows or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, I'm kidding, but the point is, you got to think about it though. The things that
Quibi?
Yeah, Quibi. Yeah. But the platforms that you're competing with, as if your audience is gamers, that's literally sentence 1 in that letter, the gaming audience. They either watch it on their PC while they're gaming, or they watch it on their phone.
Yeah.
That audience is not sitting down to turn on cable TV.
That's a good point.
If they're in front of their TV, they're playing the game. So it needed to be 100% digital, shoestring budget, and I would have pushed, this is one of the rare instances, quantity over quality. Because you're looking for hits on Twitch, you're looking for hits on Instagram, TikTok, all that other stuff.
Yeah.
I could have saved G4.
But we'll never know. So yeah, Netflix ad tier coming out in November. So don't go sign up. Next story, not a big one, but we have mentioned, I believe it was our last episode, we mentioned the behind the scenes drama of the Blade movie and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And we were all speculating that it was likely going to get delayed because it was already a year away from its scheduled release.
And they haven't even got
didn't
a script.
have a director, didn't have a script, any of that. So we were all predicting it was going to be delayed. Not even 2 days after our episode aired, it was announced that it was delayed. But like the domino effect that we predicted, a ton of other Marvel movies got delayed.
It was delayed so hard, it delayed the entire MCU.
So Disney has confirmed a set of new dates for a ton of movies all across Disney, but specifically in the Marvel land. Looking at this list, Blade has moved from November 2023 to September 6th, 2024.
A friggin' year. Okay.
Yeah, a whole year. The untitled Deadpool movie, which was essentially just announced by Ryan Reynolds a couple weeks ago with Hugh Jackman coming back as Wolverine.
Hugh Jackman.
They announced it as a release for September 6th, 2024. It is now being pushed back just a month to November 8th, 2024. Fantastic Four, originally scheduled for November 2024, is being pushed back to Feb 2025.
I'm still not sure Fantastic Four is a real movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. You've told us nothing?
Absolutely nothing.
It's not a real movie.
We have a director. We have Matt Shakman. That's it.
And even he's brand new.
Yeah.
Like 2 months ago, it was someone else.
That's true. An untitled Marvel movie, because yet again, we don't know the full Phase 6 lineup except for the 2 Avengers movies and Fantastic Four. An untitled Marvel movie that was originally scheduled for Feb 2025 is now November 2025. The big one that got pushed back is Avengers Secret Wars. So the second
part 2,
the essentially part 2 of the Avengers movies that was set for Phase 6 to close out Phase 6.
Yeah.
Previously scheduled for November 2025 is now coming out May 1st, 2026, which is kind of a bummer because
we were going to have 2 Avengers movies in 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember how cool that was when Matrix 2 and 3 came out the same year?
Yeah. Like 6 months apart.
Yeah. That was cool.
Yeah.
So I was looking forward to having that with the Avengers, but not happening anymore. So now they're essentially a year apart, with the Kang Dynasty coming out, I think, April. Don't quote me on this. April 2025.
Yeah, it's around my birthday. April, May, somewhere in there.
And then one more Marvel movie got delayed, but we don't know what it is, so it's just kind of whatever.
Okay. So here's a new segment.
Okay.
It's called Josh Saves It.
Okay.
I think this is a good idea.
What should the sound effect be for this one?
I don't know. Angels singing.
Okay.
Something like that. But so it's in regard to Blade, right? This is a project that is in deep trouble. Because when Marvel straight up announces that they're going all the way back to script, that's not good. And they didn't say it in like a, we're going to fix the script kind of way. It was a, we're starting the script over.
They got a whole new writing team.
Yeah. Okay. So if I had to guess what's happening, we heard it was really thin, lackluster action scenes, like 2 of them. I think they're thinking about it the wrong way. They're trying to write this amazing, rich, mythological tale in the MCU. You're going about it the wrong way. Picture this. John Wick with vampires. That's what that movie needs to be.
I mean, that's what we've all been picturing, right?
Yeah. One nonstop action sequence that is broken up every 15 minutes by a little bit of exposition. And then right at the end, it crashes into the rest of the MCU. And you see how it fits in as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like they're trying too hard in a weird way to like make it this rich tapestry of character development. Blade does not have a very deep character. Okay. And that's okay because I think Mahershala Ali is one of those guys who has a tendency to make characters deeper than they actually are, you know, kind of like Denzel does.
Yeah.
Like if you look at most Denzel characters, they're actually pretty two-dimensional characters, but he doesn't portray them that way. You feel like there's more there than there actually is. Mahershala Ali is very skilled in a similar way. We've seen that a few times. He could play a nonstop action hero that comes across as deeper than it is.
Yeah.
So seriously, John Wick with swords, vampires, and big guns. And right at the very end, it ties into the MCU.
So another detail that came out is that they're actually giving Mahershala Ali
writing
leeway, creative control.
Yeah, something like that.
Basically, you can say, no, I don't like this. Go rewrite it.
Yeah. Well, again, he strikes me as someone, he's probably at this point read every single Blade comic.
Yeah.
Like he would have done that as part of his research.
Yeah.
He takes his job very, very seriously. So at this point, he probably is an authority on the Blade character. Like I would 100% believe that. That would not surprise me at all. So yeah, but that's how you save it. It should be a nonstop R-rated action movie that doesn't really
make
fit
it R?
in. I mean, I think we've talked about this before. Like the MCU is diversifying, right? Yeah. With a little bit of different camera work or 1 or 2 different creative choices, Multiverse of Madness should have been R-rated.
Yeah.
Like it was right on the edge. If it wasn't an MCU movie, it would have been R-rated. 100%. Like if I had just made that movie and you didn't know it was an MCU movie, like you're just oblivious to the MCU, you would have rated that movie R when I showed it to you. And on the flip side, we've had a couple of shows now who are obviously geared more towards younger audiences.
Yeah.
We're diversifying. We can go in both directions here. Even if it now looks like Daredevil's probably not going to be particularly adult oriented. Like you can tell they've lightened it up a little bit. If I was going to pick an MCU movie that would be the MCU's first R-rated movie, Blade would make sense.
Yeah.
Especially since we're going to have Deadpool right after it. And that will certainly be rated R. So we need to make this a segment. Josh saves it.
Okay.
What could you change or what would I change to make it work? That's what I would do.
That's basically our entire show already. So
yeah.
It is what it is. But yes, so MCU getting a big shakeup. Some things getting delayed, but nothing too bad. Everything is still coming. So moving into our last story of this episode, we're going to try and keep things short since Jason's not here, but Tom Cruise in space. we all love Tom Cruise. He does. I
really do.
He does stunts for some reason. He's found his niche, I guess. But the news is coming out that Tom Cruise will hopefully become the, quote, first civilian to do a spacewalk, unquote, outside of the International Space Station, where he blasts off to space to shoot a new action movie with director Doug Liman.
It's not Mission Impossible, right? They would have said if it was Mission Impossible.
Yeah. Nothing in this article mentions Mission Impossible.
Because that's usually where he does his ridiculous things.
Yeah.
Is for Mission Impossible movies. And it usually involves an airplane.
I do know that they're saying whatever this movie is, most of it will still take place on Earth, but there will be like a scene or two where he is in space.
And you'll be able to look at it and go, he did that for real.
Yeah. Yes. So I feel like at this point, Tom Cruise is just kind of like, what are they going to let me do?
Yeah, he wants to know what he can get away with.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, guys, just stay with me here. Part of this movie takes place on Mars. I think with enough focus, Paramount can get us to Mars for this scene. we'll shoot it on an iPhone. I'm for it. I love Tom Cruise. I've always loved Tom Cruise. I think Tom Cruise is amazing. Here's my only concern about this. This is going to be something that's very, very expensive. And I mean, we've all seen spacewalks before. They're actually pretty boring.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be cool that that's really him and everything, but all it could be is him just very slowly moving through space. So I don't like, this is a neat idea and it's going to be cool trivia, but like, I think people are picturing like this action set piece in space. You can't actually do that in space. It doesn't work. So his spacewalk is going to be him floating past the camera very slowly.
So this article from Variety, I am confirming that it does not mention what this movie actually is. It's just a new action movie. It is coming from Universal Pictures, and the budget will be in the $200 million range. I'm assuming most of that is going to be going towards the spacewalk.
Yeah.
And yes, most of the movie will send Cruise to space, but it actually mostly takes place on Earth, and then the character needs to go up to space to save the day. What's he saving the day from?
These are the questions. I would feel better about this if it was a Steven Spielberg movie. Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg always make good movies.
Oh my God, he could earn $30 to $60 million for this movie. What is this movie?
That's going to be his payday?
Yeah.
Okay, so 50 million of it goes to Tom. So that's 150 million of the budget left. It'll probably take 50 million to get him into space. So they've got $100 million to make the rest of the movie.
Some of this is first dollar gross participation. Plus he's a producer.
Oh, okay. So he's going to Top Gun it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to know what this is. It doesn't sound like Mission Impossible, but it could be.
Well, my thing is, if it was Mission Impossible, they would have just said it.
Yeah.
They're never shy about talking about Mission Impossible.
Although the upcoming Mission Impossible movie that comes out next summer, it's like part 1 of 2. So maybe this is like the part 2 of them. I don't know. Doesn't matter. But yes, so he's going to space. Doing Tom Cruise things.
Doing Tom Cruise things in space.
So my question is, what does he do next?
That's it. That's what I'm saying.
From here?
Like that's aside from going to a different planet, there's literally nothing else he can do.
I bet he's going like walk on the moon next or something.
Yeah.
But yes, that wraps up our news. Aside from this one last thing that is going to tie into our next episode. So we briefly it wasn't briefly. We talked extensively about this last episode. Dwayne Johnson teasing Superman and Black Adam, Henry Cavill Superman specifically.
I mean, it's been the worst kept secret over the last few weeks. Like, we can confirm he's in it.
He is coming out and just saying it. He would love, and the plan is to make a Superman versus Black Adam movie. He's basically confirmed. Superman is coming.
And it sounds like he's here to stay.
So, yes, we'll confirm that one way or another this coming episode after we go see Black Adam. Is he in there?
I mean, he's in there. It's all over.
Right.
It's all over the Twitterverse. He's in there. He's all up in there. All right, people. Like I said, we're going to try and keep this one short. We're missing Jason this episode, but he'll be back. He better be back.
Jason, you're listening, right? Come back. All right. As always, please go share the show with a friend. Give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. Comment on our social media posts. Tell us what you like, what you don't like. Be nice to us at least. You don't have to be a turd about it. But if you don't like something, please let us know. We'll take your feedback in kind. Look out for our next episode coming out next week, episode number 29, where we will be reviewing the full seasons of She-Hulk and the Rings of Power. We will also be getting back into our coverage of House of the Dragon and Star Wars Andor, and maybe some other stuff. Who knows? There's so much out there nowadays. And Black Adam.
Black
Adam. So, stay tuned. Josh, final thoughts.
You put me on the spot. I have nothing.
Good. All right, we don't have a quote. Jason, give us a quote. Jason, give us a quote. Take it easy, people.